For someone who wants to look good and live a long time, how much lower intensity exercise should they be doing?
Yeah, I think it's important just to think about what does your life demand of you and where are you starting. So there's a lot of information out there on, oh, you need to be in this zone, or you must be doing this type of exercise, et cetera. And this is one of the ones where I think you have the most opportunity to be flexible. And the main thing you want to do is just make sure that you are actually physically active. If you want to just count steps versus actually do formal cardio, that's totally fine. So myself personally, I don't really enjoy doing cardio. And all of my blood markers are in a great place. My blood pressure is good, and I'm able to train the way I want with my level of cardiorespiratory endurance. So that's totally fine. All of our data on health would indicate that, maintaining good cardiorespiratory endurance and staying physically active in combination with resistance training is the best things you can do for health. But I think there's probably, much like there's too narrow and specific advice that tends to be a little more limiting around resistance training, when you can do it, how heavy you have to lift, like I talked about before. That also exists in the cardiorespiratory training world. People think they need to start getting heart rate monitors and being in certain zones for a certain amount of time. But if you can get, 1 to 2 hours of total like cardiorespiratory training per week, that would be amazing. And that's above the physical activity guidelines, especially if we're talking moderate to vigorous activity. But I find that's pretty easy for most people to achieve. And that can be done after you lift weights. That can be done on different days. I wouldn't do it immediately before your resistance training, especially if you're doing it as formal cardio. But just pushing yourself to the point where it is a challenge. Same kind of deal as it goes with resistance training. Like if you want to go on a jog, try to see if you can get a similar distance in less time, or see if you can go a further distance in the same time. And then, keep on slowly pushing that up as you go. And that can be applied to any modality. Or if you're not really that interested in pushing yourself super hard, just make sure that it's kind of maintains this moderate level of difficulty where you couldn't just easily talk to someone. You'd have, one of those conversations that kind of sound like this, and you maintain that for a few days, for 20, 30 minutes, a few days per week, then that's all good. And if you do choose swimming, don't try to talk while doing it. I've seen that go poorly for people because, you'll drown. That's a joke. But yeah, so just anyway, whatever you want to do, whether it's swimming, biking, hiking, go wild with it and just be consistent, or just count steps. If you enjoy just getting in and amongst things, or if you don't, like just park further away, take the first parking spot you find, don't, take the stairs more often. You can gamify it, get a Fitbit, so long as it doesn't become like too obsessive. If we look at the data on health and healthy aging and metabolic impacts and all-cause mortality data, somewhere in the 6,000 to 8,000 steps per day is where you start to see all of the negative effects of being sedentary go away. And then kind of like the volume literature in resistance training, you do get a little more from getting more and more and more and more steps, but the drop off in terms of the prevention of ill health, or the benefits that you see for positive health, become lesser and lesser and lesser as you start to get over, that kind of 6,000 to 8,000 steps per day range into the 10s, 15s, insanity ranges of steps per day.